Good morning!
Good morning. Do you guys know what this is?
That's North Carolina.
So you gotta breathe, 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 breathe. Let it go and let it be.
Today we are answering your questions.
Y'all's questions.
Bringing in that southern drawl.
If you guys missed the video where we announced that we are moving, you might want to watch that video to get a little caught up on why we're moving. And we just wanted to sit down and answer some of the questions that I know a lot of you have had, or maybe you don't
Or
have.
some questions I have.
Yeah, and we don't have all the answers, but we'll try to fill in some of the gaps today.
First of all, we are all very excited to see the new house. Me included.
Mary has not seen the house yet. I flew down a couple weeks ago and toured it twice, and so Mary's seen lots of video and pictures, but she hasn't seen it yet. And I know a lot of you guys are just like little kids on Christmas Eve waiting to see pictures of this house, but we don't want to spoil the surprise.
I can't believe that it's real.
I know. Well, the other thing is we haven't closed on the house yet. It's a few weeks away, and so we're going through all the processes. It had its inspection last week and everything is looking good.
So basically closing means that's when it'll be officially ours.
Yeah.
And at that point, which he said is in a few weeks, then we'll give you a real house tour.
Yeah, so until then, no pictures.
All in the imagination.
But I will say, I was sitting in the kitchen this morning and I heard Mary go, "Oh my goodness." And she opened up a note on her phone, and it was like a checklist. Do you want to tell them what you saw?
It was a list on my phone, which, this is funny, I realized I use my notes on my phone like a journal.
Oh, funny.
Like quick thoughts or long elaborate thoughts in the middle of the night or whatever. Anyway, this was a list of things that we need to it was probably when we were driving back after the transplant evaluation week, and we were like in loads of unknowns. Like, it felt like we were drowning in unknowns.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got a lot of information from the transplant week, but then it brought up a lot of new unknowns. So anyway, things that I needed to do. Realtor. So find a realtor.
Check.
And then just some ideas about like, when we look for a house, here are some things. It needs to have enough space for Ollie for a yard.
Check.
It needs to be close to the hospital.
Check.
It'd be great if it had at least 2 bedrooms for an office and that sort of thing. Not on a busy road, mostly ready to move in, like those sorts of things.
And she was just reading me this list, and we were just like overwhelmed with gratefulness that in just a short amount of time we were able to find a house that really far exceeded anything we could have hoped or imagined for. And one of the things was like, we wanted to have a place that was newish, not a new construction, but something that we didn't have to worry about things that would harm Mary's lungs, like mold and that sort of thing. Right. And so we were really grateful to find a place that was completely renovated and everything is fresh and clean.
Yeah, we're just really, really thankful. And I've mentioned this a couple of times over the last couple weeks as we're, you know, moving toward moving. I've been thinking a lot about all the places we've lived and how we learn from each place, and how most of the places we've lived, actually all the places, well, I mean, we had a choice of where we lived, but we didn't make any of the like wall color choices or the house style or anything like that. We've never had a choice. And I think part of that has taught us to be flexible, to be willing to make a home out of wherever it is, even if it's in a hospital or whatever. Wherever we are is our home. And it's just really crazy to think that we're gonna have a home that is our own. And it's just, it really makes me kind of speechless. But we are excited, looking forward to things ahead, but also very much content with being here and now.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, there's a lot of unknowns with timing. Did we talk about it in another vlog? Like with healthcare, health stuff, we don't know exactly. So
when that transition to move will be most ideal. And so we're kind of holding all of those details loosely right now.
So even though the house will be officially ours in the next few weeks, we won't officially move or transfer my healthcare yet.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of things to discuss and to come.
Yeah. And so one of the questions is, when are we moving? And there's a big question mark on that at this point. It's not going to be in the immediate, like right when we close on the house.
Right.
We'll be back and forth in the meantime while we're still here in Massachusetts. And sometime this fall we'll be transitioning.
And part of that is with your job, and that has been a journey in itself.
Yep.
Of walking through transitions with your job, and of course one of your jobs is YouTube.
Yeah.
But you guys also know that Peter is also a pastor.
Yeah. And so in some ways it's been like a ton of details to get figured out. We're fully still invested here in Massachusetts. I'm serving at this church. We're walking through a time of transition, and in that we want to fully support our church and help them transition in this next season for us and for them.
Right.
And so in that, I'm still preaching every week and all of those details. So that's part of what's still up in the air in terms of our timing.
Right.
But in some ways, it's been really, really hard to walk through this process of transition with our church, and me having to say, God's calling us to go to North Carolina, and then for Mary and I to really say, okay, what's next for us, and also what's next for this church here in Massachusetts. Right. And so there's a lot of details there, and I know one of the questions that I've seen over and over is, will I be pastoring a church in North Carolina? And the immediate answer is no, that I will not be taking an official position with a church in the immediate future. Mary and I have been in this transition praying and seeking God's direction on what's next for how both of us can use our gifts and our passions in this next season of life. And so we're excited to give our attention to some new projects, and I'm gonna do some writing and speaking, and one of the avenues that we'll share more with you in the future is really shaping my YouTube channel as a place to create resources for people in their journeys of faith. And so stay tuned. We're excited for this next season and how God will be redirecting our gifts and passions for the church, and my gifts and passion for preaching, and really entering a new season of ministry for us.
And in some ways that's scary. I don't really know what the right word is, but any transition can be hard. And what we've learned is we really make the most of each chapter. So the last 3.5 years that he's been preaching on a weekly basis, there are immense joys and also challenges that come with that. And so we've learned and soaked that up for everything that it is and continues to be for the time being. But then we look to this next chapter and we say, ooh, that's kind of hard and sad that we're changing the way that our week looks or our life. But then we think of all the new opportunities that come with this change. So, one thing that comes to mind is we've loved having this church that Peter preaches at weekly. But the thing about having somewhere you're committed to weekly preaching like that is that you don't have as many opportunities to travel and preach.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for that consistent family,
totally.
church family, and we still will plan to have that in North Carolina. He just won't be the weekly preacher, but having our Sundays potentially open to traveling to other churches to preach, or all the different things.
And we'll be honest that one of the reasons we've decided to make this move now as opposed to further down the road is because we value the importance of having a church community around us as one of our top priorities in walking through life. And so we want to get plugged into a church in North Carolina and have people around us who can support us and walk through life with us, and we can support them and walk through life with them. And we believe that that's the way that God designed the church to be. And so we're excited to enter in many ways a new season of, like Mary was saying, what it looks like for us, and yet to have new opportunities and new schedule and all those things.
And like also moving now versus like right before transplant, we have more capacity to invest and to serve and get established with a new church family. So that's one thing that comes to mind. But also, like we've been talking about, that transition of like what our life has looked like the last 3.5 years and what it will look like. Maybe now we can serve with a college ministry, or kind of like Peter was saying, use our gifts and abilities in different ways. And it's very overwhelming to think of that, because that means investing time and energy in a whole new group of people, which can be overwhelming, but also so exciting.
And we're really grateful that we can do this because of YouTube and because of the income we're able to receive through YouTube videos, through our online store. And we're really grateful for all of you being a part of how we can, in many ways, you guys being part of the Frey Life equips us to enter this new season of new ministry opportunities, of speaking and doing things like this.
Which actually brings me to a point. Many of you guys have been really sweet and gracious and have asked if we have like a new house registry, or is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Like a moving registry or something. And we don't, we actually have most of the things that we will need for our new house. We really aren't in need of that sort of thing, but it's really kind of you to think about that part of the move. And the best way that we can receive your, if you want to like financially be in this move with us, any purchases from our online store, of course 10% go to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and the rest go to
supporting us as a family.
It's our job.
And so we're really grateful for all your support and
gratitude.
Yeah, shirts like that can remind you of the messages that we try to communicate here on these vlogs. But guys, thanks for being part of this crazy season of transition in our lives, for all your love and support. And just, I remember when we first posted that we were moving, and just like all the like understanding and like overwhelming affirmation that you guys gave, that, you know, obviously this was a big decision for us to make, and it was really encouraging to read your comments and for you guys to be part of this with us.
Thank you guys. And as always,
we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Good night.
And someday in our new home.
Good night to the Holly boy. You're gonna love it, buddy.